This is a Dirt Trax test ride.
Can-Am's XMR models have been right at the top of their best sellers list for a long time, and the reason is really simple. They are the industry's best mud-specific ATVs. I'm always a big proponent of the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when Can-Am pulled the sheets off the 2025 XMR lineup, now all new in the G3 chassis, I wasn't surprised because it makes sense, but I was a little concerned. What if it's not an improvement? The G3 Outlander is the best Outlander Can-Am has ever made, but would the things that make it so much better translate into the mud-specific XMR? We got our hands on a long-term test unit at the beginning of this season and have been putting in the hours in the mud and on the trail to find the answer to that very question, and here's what we discovered. The first thing I want to talk about is power and power delivery. This is the industry's first mud-specific ATV that comes from the factory with 100 horsepower. Interestingly, this is the area that needed the most adaptation from the older model. The power is intense, no doubt, but the delivery is worlds softer than it was in the G2. Engagement is far less abrupt. It just doesn't hit as hard when you grab the throttle. To some, this might initially seem like a bad thing. I mean, how do you get the wheels to spin in the mud if it doesn't engage with aggression? And I'm really glad you asked that question. You simply let 100 horsepower and loads of torque do their jobs. We haven't found a single scenario where the huge horsepower and torque couldn't get the wheels spinning hard despite the soft engagement. But let's take this one step further. The soft engagement makes for a way nicer ATV to ride when you're not in the mud. So if you use your XMR for multiple purposes, you are very much going to like this change. The next thing I want to talk about is heat. Now, it's no secret, the G2 Outlanders, especially the XMR model, had problems with both overheating and excessive heat buildup on the plastics inside the footwell area. Can-Am has paid very close attention to this with the G3. The entire chassis and plastic of the ATV are designed to channel heat right down the center, over the engine, and straight out the back. This has made a huge difference in heat buildup. The plastics down by your legs never get excessively hot, and we haven't had one single overheating issue with this XMR, even when the whole bike's covered in mud. One of the biggest differences between the G2 and G3 Outlanders is the rear suspension. The G3 uses standard double A-arms instead of the trailing arm setup found on the G2. There was some concern early on that this may affect its deep mud capabilities. We found that this doesn't seem to have any effect really at all. The G3 Outlander also has an increase in ground clearance over the G2, so that's always good. And the double A-arms seem to keep the ATV from rolling up on its side when you're riding in the deep mud ruts. One of the most striking features of this new XMR is its top-mounted rad and snorkel setup. The 2025 G3 XMR has a completely redesigned radiator setup that does a better job directing air over the rad fins, which helps keep the engine cool. But it also is incredibly easy to disassemble to clean and inspect your rad, and this is a feature we absolutely love. The rear rack on the new G3 XMR was heavily influenced by Can-Am's mud ambassadors. It was their direct input that resulted in features like these excellent grab handles that make pulling on the ATV when you're stuck so much easier, or this raised rear footrest so that when you're trying to do a water wheelie or get your knee on the seat, you have somewhere to push against with your foot. Or the fact that there's no plastic right here behind the seat, so when you lean your weight back to wheelie, you don't smash your butt off something hard. And these features have all proven to be legitimately useful in the real world. Our favorite is the grab handle, which, like I said earlier, is immensely helpful when you get stuck. If there were a few things I could pick on about the new 2025 Outlander 1000 XMR, the first one would be these XPS Swamp King XL tires. Now they are very good tires, and they're considerably better on the trail than the cryptids that were found on the older model. But in the mud, they just don't seem to provide the same traction. For most, they'll be perfectly fine, but if you're into serious mud riding, you're probably going to want to upgrade. The other change I think Can-Am should make is a very simple one. The Showa shocks that it comes with are good quality units, but they aren't adjustable, and all of our test riders agree they should be. Having the ability to soften the suspension for a day on the trail or a long ride to the mud hole, then stiffen it up when you're ready to ride in the mud would be a huge benefit. These are really the only two things I can think of. Everything else about this new XMR 1000 is at least as good as the G2, but in most cases, significantly better. Which means the best mud-specific ATV in the industry just got even better. Our own in-house mud expert, Graham, has enthusiastically given it his seal of approval. And if he likes it, I know you will too.
Make sure to subscribe and comment below for real interaction with the Dirt Trax crew.